A war started 60 years ago, it's still going on and advancing, excuse my English. Meanwhile good men have been gullibly sleeping until recently. In its core it is not a war between the sexes. It's a culture war and there are predominantly men on one side, let's call it the traditional, but also a rising number of women. On the other side, let's call it the feminist side, there are predominantly women but also far too many men. Some YouTubers, in or near the monosphere, don't seem to understand what's happening. They accept that reality is changing and advise men just to adapt, or even do PUA. This approach is disastrous and must be counteracted and prevented at all costs. The underlying causes are structural and the attacks must be directed towards these structures in purpose to change them. A war needs soldiers. Men drafted of all ages and categories, nice guys, singles, married, betas, incels, and MGTOWs. Men have to unite first before any battle could be won. The rift must be healed. May all good men take part according to their abilities. The goal must be to restore balance in the sexual interaction between the genders. Men's sexuality is controlled by women, as always, and women's sexuality must accordingly be controlled by society, as once before. This can only be achieved by restoring strict monogamy, that is, in some modern form, sometimes called monogamish, not the same as in the 50s since conditions are very different today. It must be enforced by moral and cultural pressure and demand of accountability, not handing out taxpayers' money for bad actions. Monogamy ensures stability, progress, and overall happiness, for men and, even more so, for women, and in addition more sex for almost all. Any other outcome will be harsh or even lethal to humanity. No cultural equitable society can be built without strict monogamy. The battle have two targets. First, the 10% top dominant guys who have almost all the sex, sometimes incorrectly referred to as alpha males. They are a big part of the problem. They are men and henceforth accountable for their actions. They have to be attacked and shamed for their, understandably, predatory behavior to women that have been deluded, fooled to believe in promiscuity, thus voluntarily and happily inviting these men. Before the 1950s these men were frowned upon as horndogs and were not popular in society, but after the female sexual liberation and loss of sexual moral and justice, they are called studs and have got a free card and it's causing a lot of harm. This group of men are roughly divided in two groups, the jerks, dark triad psychopaths, even criminals, and the real so-called alphas. It's not worth the effort to address the first group, but the second, the real, good, alphas probably are. I have already seen signs of that on YouTube. When they realize the problems and complications they cause for their fellow, not so lucky men, they might change their behavior. But not easily, since they are attacked by so many willingly hoarded females. It is the females who are the sellers and it shouldn't be accepted that they give free supply. The second target is womanism, white knights and Uncle Tims, that is to say the political field. A constant hammering and display of facts and pure logic are needed, and a good convincing philosophical reasoning. Emotional arguments must be used sparingly as they may backfire. Young females are hard to reach by the monosphere. But they are susceptible to criticism from other females. And there are many good of them, sometimes defectors from the F movement. It's not a good idea to exclude them, believing that all females are chameleons. You can spot a chameleon as a female pretending be on men's side but at the same time arguing that both parties must make efforts and take responsibilities to bridge the gap, while a true anti-feminist female never berates the men, only the females. According to Schopenhauer, most females lack the sense of moral found in men, and there are evolutionary reasons for that. Today's Western woman is like a spoiled child that gets everything it points at. Later in life such children become wayward and lack the self-control and ability to compromise needed to build a healthy, prosperous and happy life. The war will not be short and easy, but there are some good signs. More and more men, and women, are joining the forces and the enemy is scared, dodging bullets, and defectors are leaving. Nothing but a total capitulation must be accepted. Do not accept any partial surrender or concessions, then we are soon back again. Any temporary ceasefire or partial peace will lead to a complete lost cause. In another video I will try to figure out what will happen then, God forbid. Many men knows what's wrong, but few knows or discuss what to do about it. We are very far from the end, not even at the end of the beginning yet. It's not the army with the bravest soldiers that wins, it is the army whose soldiers have the highest combat moral that wins. Remember the uncontestable tenet. No hymen, no diamond. Bye.